I love Yu-Gi-Oh! Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite subjects in Yu-Gi-Oh! Specifically for GOAT format Yu-Gi-Oh! 2005. We're going to be talking about side decking. I've been getting a lot of people asking me about, I don't understand how to side deck. I don't understand how to side deck in this format. It's new to me. I don't really know the ins and outs. There's so much going on. There's so many different cards. I'm not used to entering in a tournament setting. I could really use your help trying to figure out what's the best way to side deck my best 2 out of 3. So today is going to be that day we're going to be getting into it. If there's anything that you feel like I've missed or left out in this video, feel free to put it in the comment section down below. I always like the feedback. Everybody's been really nice lately. That being said, let's get into it. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a best 2 out of 3 game. Not like some other card games that some people may have played. We play best 2 out of 3 in a match for a tournament setting. This means that we also get a side deck, being that you get 15 cards from your side deck that you can exchange 1 for 1 in your main deck. That's the starting like 40 or however many cards that you want to start playing with that better beat your opponent in between games. Usually you're going to want to take out cards that are not really that useful in the matchup, or cards that are just better, have a better replacement in your side deck. GOAT format is split into 3 decks, or 3 types of decks that I like to think about, especially when I'm talking with my friends about how we can win, or how we can beat our opponents in the future. Some people may not see the game this way, but I found that this is something that helps you get into that mindset, makes it a lot easier to categorize, especially with all the different cards that could be available in Yu-Gi-Oh! The 3 main types of decks are going to be aggro, there's going to be value or control decks, and then there's going to be win condition decks like OTK decks or burn strategies that try to inflict effect damage through card effects. The most popular decks out there right now, or at least in general for a 2005 GOAT format, is going to be GOAT Control. That one is a most defensive, and it's really good into aggressive strategies. There's also going to be Chaos Turbo. That was the one with the most value and draws a lot of cards. It's really good into other control decks. That helps give you time. And last but certainly not least is Warrior. That is going to be the most aggressive strategy, and it's really good into value decks that need to have that time to help get more card advantage against you. These are the most popular decks. They're not the only decks in the format, but this is kind of something to help you get into the idea of, okay, this is what I need to beat. This is what I need to build my deck around to strategize, and it really helps that GOAT format and Time Wizard and these old school type of formats don't have new cards added to them. They're something that doesn't change over time, and it'll help you get into the headspace of being able to narrow down your side deck and beat those kind of strategies. Even though that these are the most popular decks, they're not the only decks, especially with other decks that might fall into the same type of categories. Decks that are aggressive or aggro strategies try to attack you, or control decks that try to slow the game down with like Scapegoats and Metamorphosis. Or even decks that try to accrue value to try to OTK or do some other kind of strategy or mixed up. You can kind of figure out what your opponent is playing on game 1 and then side deck appropriately, even when you're going into unfamiliar territory. Like if you're going against a alt win condition deck or some kind of OTK strategy, a lot of times these decks can narrow down into one or the other. Some examples may include for cards that you may want to side deck against your opponent would be Sakuretsu Armor against aggressive strategies, Swords Revealing Light, Scapegoat, Sambaira. These are cards that stop attacks. If you notice that your opponent is attacking you a bunch, then they are most likely an aggressive aggro strategy like Warriors, Earth aggro, or even some type of OTK decks, or some burn strategies also offer the ability to attack you directly, so you might want to consider putting those cards in to help better beat your opponent. Now, if you want to stop control decks or value strategies that need to draw cards, some examples could include Mind Control, Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer, and even King Tiger Wang Hu. Mind Control helps take set monsters and allows you to use their effects, or even a Chaos monster to use its effect to banish itself or an opponent's monster. King Tiger Wang Hu is another card that's really good, helps against those scapegoats or metamorphosis slow strategies to speed the game up. Those are cards that'll help you, really do some more damage, clear the way if you are an aggressive strategy, or if that is a weak point for your deck. Now, you also might want to include some cards that stop these specific alt-win, OTK, or even burn type decks that might appear, or if someone, they just want to put in some weird funky stuff, because the choice is yours. When you want to make your GOAT deck, you can play any deck card in any deck for the most part. You might want to include a very popular Mystic Walk, helps against burn, Dust Tornado to help remove back row, Royal Decree against a lot of these trap heavy decks, or even the Monarchs, things like Zaborg, Mobius, something like that's a tribute summon, could help swing it into your favor against very, very specific alt-win strategy types of decks. Cards like Genzo or these big swing spell canceller has been used against decks that have nothing but spells like Reasoning Gate. Always keep these kind of strategies in the back of your mind, even if they're not the most popular. They might be something that your deck specifically has a weakness to. See where your deck falls in line with like the big three, if you're playing one of them, or if you're playing a strategy that's close to it or plays cards that are very similar to it. You're going to want to figure out what is your deck and how you can help make up for your weaknesses when you're side decking. For starting out, I do recommend net decking. This is something where you take somebody else's deck that either won a tournament that you've seen on YouTube or online, or a friend's deck list. When you are side decking, you're going to want to get your basics, or just learning and starting out. Find how to side deck with a deck first, and then maybe you want to apply that to your own strategy, your own deck, your own creative build, or your own spin on things. I know net decking as like a term in the community gets a lot of flack, but when you're learning and you're starting out, it can be really frustrating to figure out, where am I supposed to make a deck from? How am I supposed to figure out which cards are good and which cards are bad? Well, if you copy somebody else's deck, possibly with some kind of like consent, or if it's a friend or something, like, hey, can I use your deck? Can I borrow your deck just to learn how to side deck? Or I found this list online. I'm going to use that to figure out just my ins and my outs, as we call them, the 1 for 1s or the 2 for 2s, to figure out, okay, I don't need this card against that deck. I don't need that card against this deck. I see how this person has used this card against this specific strategy, or maybe this card just has good overlap. Overlap is a word that I really like when we're talking about side decking. Cards that cover multiple matchups have much better value over a long tournament. Tournaments can be anywhere between 3 rounds, 7 rounds, 10 rounds to top cut. It's good that you should have cards that are not only good against one deck, but they're good against multiple decks. Things that can cover multiple strategies, and some might be better against other specific decks, while they might be weaker against decks that are similar. Things like Death's Wombat. While it may be a really good card against burn, and maybe you have like a weak burn matchup, it doesn't really have good overlap with some other strategies. So while you may want to use that card, it might be good against burn, or if you expect a lot of burn at your local tournament or a big tournament, that can be a card that you can use. Or you might want to do a more generic side and find another card that might cover multiple bases, like Dust Tornado to get rid of back row, or activate it during the end phase so that your opponent can't chain or respond with that card. Lastly, I recommend to get creative. I know a lot of people, after you're done, net decking, or you think that, all these kind of deck lists are the same, everyone plays the same deck or something. This can be ideas that are thrown around by various types of people. But as we've seen in this past couple years or few years, that is not the case. you can get creative. You can change up 1 card, 2 cards, 5 cards in your side and main deck and how you side deck and still win in top events. We've seen a variety of new builds, even in a format this old, that have come out and done well. Some mixed up decks and some strategies to help better counter and go through these different meta shifts and what's popular and what's least popular and what's more popular and how I'm supposed to build and side deck. It's okay to get a little bit creative. You know, maybe throw in a card that your opponent might not be expecting, a crazy one of, something from a different deck, or you could even try doing some kind of like conversion side deck. Some people really like that, and change your main deck into a completely different deck. After you're done with your basic side decking strats, these are something that you're going to want to look into the future, because there is so much to learn, so much to get into that I can't all fit into one video. But after you're done mastering these basics and figuring out which cards are better against other decks, which cards I want to put into my main deck, then you can start getting creative. And that's where the freedom comes from. And that's where people start discussing, and that's, you know, you can go back and forth with your friends or your teammates and think, oh, okay, I see you're gonna side this against me, so I'm gonna counter side against you. This is something that you can't always just practice on your own. You have to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And you have to get into your opponent's, you know, brain and figure out, oh, okay, these cards are commonly side decked against me, so I'm going to side deck cards that beat those cards. And understanding other people's lists and what these regular decks are playing, getting a little bit of study on, that's something that you can accrue over time. That's something that you can look forward to. I got off like major tournaments and thinking about all of these kind of strategies have helped me, and when I'm figuring out those last couple slots on my side or main deck, or maybe something that I want to help better win, get the edge on my opponent. That's really how you're going to be using the side deck in the future. And I really appreciate making it this long in the video. If you have any questions, concerns, or criticisms, feel free to put it in the comment section down below. I am happy to get back into the game, get back into, you know, letting people know how to side deck and how to use it for upcoming tournaments. That being said, thank you for watching my video, and I appreciate it.
I've been playing with Judge Julian for around 2 years, and I won this GGPLA mat because of how much better he made me.